It's election day, and I think no matter where you are in the world, this is going to be a very big event, big day in history. To everyone. And I think the topic today can kind of tie into election day, but it also is just a general topic. But it ties into election day in the way that social media can be really scary. And social media can cause us to get false information, to worry, to compare yourselves, and it can be really helpful in having information and having this really quick communication. And it can also be really scary in the fact that this is a new time in history. We've never had communication this fast before. And in the general timeline of just the world in general, we are just beginning this period, this era where we have this type of communication. And that can be scary. And so today I'm mainly just going to talk about, the cat is trying to get my tea. Just a second here. No, you don't need this. I'm generally just going to be talking about my own experience with social media, and one thing that can be difficult with social media is the fact that you have access to information right away, and so that itself can be difficult, and that information might not always be true, or it might be catered towards what the algorithm already knows that you want to see, right? But the other part of it is that it can be really hard to have social media because of comparison and the fact that it's adding another thing that is able to give you this like fake dopamine in your life. And it just can be very complicated to figure out how to navigate the world of social media and the world of your own personal life and making it all fit together. The first thing I want to talk about a little bit is just how having access to social media can impact our own personal lives and dopamine and the way we process it. So before I say anything on this, I have been working with my counselor recently, and I've talked in the past about the fact that I had been diagnosed with OCD. I've been working with my counselor, and it's looking like it is possible that that was a false diagnosis and that I may actually have ADHD. Now, I want to be very, very clear. I have not done an assessment. I have not gotten an evaluation. I have not been diagnosed. This is just something that my counselor and I have been realizing, and that my counselor is hoping that I can get an evaluation for soon, but that takes time. I'm waiting in that process. But if I do, if that is the case, then dopamine, when one has ADHD, it's a dopamine deficiency. And so when that is the case, my reason for talking about this is to explain that for me, this might impact me more than it would impact other people, say whoever you watching this, because it's possible that I do have that dopamine deficiency. It's also just generally everyone processes things differently. But with that said, something I've been seeing lately on social media is real dopamine versus fake dopamine, or good dopamine versus bad dopamine. And basically, what that is saying, what is the dopamine that gives you a natural high, or a natural feeling of, like, what are the natural ways that you are getting dopamine, and what are some of the more unnatural ways of getting dopamine, or ways that might only have short-term impacts on the dopamine that you're getting. They might not be long-lasting. So things that can be real dopamine, for lack of better words, are things like meditation, exercising, practicing self-care in general, taking care of yourself. Gratitude is a huge one, spending time offline, things like that. Fake dopamine would be things like scrolling excessively on social media, drugs, alcohol, anything really. Sugar is a big one, actually. And different things can give you a dopamine increase, but they may not make you feel the greatest, or they might not make you feel, they might not be long lasting, right? You want things that are going to change overall, be long lasting, help you process things, rather than these things that may actually end up becoming bad habits, right? Drinking alcohol every so often isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you overdo it, it can be. Scrolling on social media once in a while isn't going to hurt you that much, but if you do it excessively, it could. So it's these things that you have to be very cautious about. Sugar, I don't know about you, but if I eat too much sugar, I just feel gross all day. Like, I get tired, I get groggy, I get in a bad mood, I have no energy, I don't have any motivation, yes, right? Now, when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about this in relation to ADHD in any way, shape, or form. Talking about that was just to mention that, hey, this is something I've been thinking about lately because I've been trying to figure out if I have ADHD. And I am curious if these things might impact me more than it would for someone who doesn't have ADHD, if I do. But, again, I don't even know if I do. It's been a long process, you guys. I'm a little confused what the next step is, but yeah. Social media is one of those things that the reason that we go towards it, the reason that we gravitate towards social media, there's many reasons, but one of them is that dopamine that comes out of it. It's a quick way to get dopamine. It's a quick fix if you're feeling short of dopamine. It's something that gives you this fast reward, this fast, exciting thing. And if you spend so much time on social media, it can cause it to feel really draining, right? Because social media can cause things like comparison and just generally not feeling good about yourself, false information, all of these different things. And so for me specifically, I'm going to talk about the comparison. I have known for years that social media is not great for me. But it took until I really started to take Eunoia and the podcast seriously. It took until then for me to finally take action on the fact that social media was hurting me. I would spend hours at night scrolling on social media, and I know we all do, right? It happens. We all do. But it got to the point where I did not feel good about myself in any way, shape, or form. I was constantly comparing myself, constantly trying to change my life in ways that was not me. And I wasn't happy anymore. And when I started Eunoia, I was really focused on that I think I kind of had this period of time where I didn't really look at social media as much. And I realized how nice it was. And so when I started actually, marketing or talking about Eunoia and really bringing it to life, it's an online platform. So I have to be online. And one way to do that is by sharing on social media. And that, when I started sharing as the founder of Eunoia, I started to realize that there was even more comparison, because now I was not only comparing myself and how I look and my voice and the way I dress and all these different things, but I was also comparing my business, how Eunoia compared to other brands. This brand is growing faster than mine. This person is doing this or that with their life and their brand, and I should be doing that too. And I was constantly going after more. I constantly wanted more. I constantly felt like it wasn't enough and I wasn't enough. So that was the moment that I realized if I wanted to actually be having an online presence and sharing Eunoia, I had to reduce that amount of time that I was online, which sounds weird, but think about it this way. I deleted social media so that I could have a better relationship with social media and so that I could have a better relationship with posting online. So now I no longer have social media on my phone, but I do post for Eunoia and for just my personal account through like a third party or Facebook to post. So what I can do is I can post whenever I want, but I don't always have that algorithm and that feed coming at me. So I can choose when I want to look at other content versus just opening the app to post something and getting sucked in. And that was what was happening because I had these commitments as a business owner that I was doing, like posting, like sharing the podcast, sharing the things that were going on in Eunoia. I had this commitment that I had made, but when I would open Instagram on my phone, for example, I would just start scrolling and I'd get caught into it, and it just got, like, I was already struggling and it just got so much worse. And I was really scared to delete social media because I thought, I'm going to have a lot of FOMO. I'm not going to fit in. I'm not going to, I'm not going to understand people my age anymore. That was actually like a huge concern of mine. And I realized, you know what? Ultimately, I think that's okay. And it didn't make nearly as much of an impact as I thought. It really didn't make any impact at all. But also, that time that I would have been online gave me so much more time to pay attention to myself. And that's when I really learned to live authentically and for myself. I'd been working at it for years, but that one thing was that I just kept comparing myself. And I'm not saying I don't. I do a lot. It's my counselor and I have been talking about it a lot lately. But it's improved. And that is why overall, I have really tried to cut back on social media in the last, I want to say, 1 or 2 years. And it has done wonders for me. I am not saying that you have to do this too. Please do not take it that way. That is not what I'm saying. But I want to share my journey because I know that no matter who you are, you're going to feel the negative aspects of social media in some way, shape, or form. They might not be big for you, but you'll feel them. And you'll also feel the positive impacts. For me, the negative outweighed the positive, and it was time to let go. And that doesn't mean I'm not on social media. It doesn't mean I don't look at social media, but if you've ever tried going on Instagram on the browser instead of like the app, it glitches, it's messy. It basically stops you from scrolling so long. And so I get bored way easier when I'm on the browser. So I get to choose when I want to look at what's going on, and I'll look at a few posts and then I'll be like, okay, I'm done. Because one, the browser made it difficult for me to even scroll if I wanted to because it just glitches too much. And two, I started building that habit of if I was searching up Instagram to look at what was going on, I really had to consciously make that choice to do it instead of just pressing a button on my phone and the app opening. And that, it changed my habits. It changed the way that I think of social media. And I have had way more time to focus on myself. And in that time, I've really truly felt like I have found who I am meant to be in this given time. And I've really enjoyed that. I used to struggle a lot with how I dress, comparing myself to how I dress. And again, I still do. It's still really bad, but it is a million times better because in general, I can look at myself in the mirror every day and think, hey, I'm grateful for how I look and I'm grateful for the clothes that I have. And I've really started to enjoy getting dressed, enjoy putting together outfits, and enjoy how outfits make me feel. Have you ever heard the phrase, you wear the outfit, don't let the outfit wear you? I always understood it, but I never actually felt it until recently. And that has been really powerful for me. I also, on days that I do end up downloading Instagram, I catch myself almost immediately comparing myself to how I look with other people. Okay, I have a rounder face than some people. I have bags under my eyes. These are genetic. We love them. Not really, but I've learned to love them for what they are. My hair. I love my hair. And if I am online too much, I catch myself wishing that I had straight hair. And yet, I have loved my hair my entire life. When I was a kid, I loved my hair. So why should I start hating it now? Right? The only reason that I'm hating it now is because I see other people with straight hair and I think I should have straight hair. I see other people with skinnier faces and I think I should look like that. I see other people with clearer skin and I think I should look like that. I see other people without bags under their eyes and I think I want to be that. No. I want to be me. But when things like that happen, when I start comparing myself, it can take me days to get out of that funk. It can really, really mess with me. And that's my reason for talking about all of this, is I want to validate that. I want to validate that social media can have really incredible impacts. It can be really important. It can be really amazing. And it can also be really difficult. And I don't think that it's possible to have one or the other. I think that it is a combination of the two, and some days it might feel great and some days it might feel like it's messing with your life. And it is up to you to make that choice. Because for me, social media was impacting me too much and I had to set some boundaries with it. But that's not everyone. But I want to validate the fact that if you do need to set boundaries, that is okay. And if you don't set boundaries or you don't need to, but you have those moments, that's also okay. And in those moments, it's hard to figure out why you're feeling that way, right? You might be comparing yourself to someone, but it's hard to actually sit down and realize, wait a second, I am comparing right now. To name what you're doing, that is really difficult. I think that's part of why it took me so long to delete Instagram, was because I didn't even know what was happening. I just felt horrible all the time. And it wasn't until I deleted it for a week or so that I realized how much better I felt. And so I kept it deleted. And so in those moments, when life can get hard, when social media might be impacting you a little bit more than it usually does, take a step back. Take care of yourself. Think about how you want to live, for you and yourself only. What brings you joy? What brings you passion? What makes you happy in life? What are your goals? Who is the type of person that you want to be? and start working towards that. Work on really that personal development, that self-care, that just self-soothing, that taking care of yourself, because you deserve a hug. Social media, no one has it figured out. It's a mess. And I sometimes feel like technology is moving faster than us as humans can. It's progressing so fast, and we don't have the time or mental capacity to even begin to process that before something new comes along. So give yourself that hug, because it can be difficult, and you deserve a break, and you deserve to feel good about yourself, and you deserve to give yourself a hug, because I think that we all need it, especially right now with the elections and with whatever emotions you're feeling, no matter who you're voting for, no matter what your views are. I think we're all feeling a little bit of that anxiety, and I think that social media may or may not be contributing to that. So give yourself a little bit of a hug, breathe, and take care of yourself. And in the end, I hope that we're in this together.